Welcome back for part 2 of the budget AR pistol build. I'll go ahead and leave a link somewhere down in the description to part 1 in case you missed that, as well as a link to my website. Over on the website I've got links for all the parts that I've used in this build. Unfortunately, I have to do it this way because YouTube hates the Second Amendment, and they are constantly looking for ways to deplatform anybody that makes this kind of content. The best way to combat their oppressive policies is to get active. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, like a video, use one of my affiliate links before doing any of your Amazon shopping. Hell, you can head to the t-shirt store and order yourself a hoodie. Whatever. That's the kind of support that keeps gun content alive and well on YouTube. It shows those guys that we stand together, and this is the kind of stuff we want to see on YouTube. Alright, so I finally got the AR pistol build finished and taken out for testing. It took a little longer than expected, but I think it's well worth it. I gotta tell you, this thing was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. Let's go ahead and go through some of the parts, why I picked them, what the cost was, and then we'll go ahead and get into performance. Like I said in the first video, I started this build with an Anderson lower because at the time it was the cheapest thing in the gun store at 70 bucks. Now, this build cost is going to vary quite a bit depending on your state and what your local tax rate and regulations are going to be. For the most part, what I'm seeing in gun stores lately is a barrel length between 7 to 9, maybe 9.5 inches as far as AR pistols go. Now, I'll be honest, I'm no ballistics expert, but I also doubt that half the people lending their opinion online are either. I'm just a guy that's damn near 40 years old, been shooting my entire life, and literally that's what I do with my free time. While everybody else is making plans to go to the bar, go to the club on the weekends, I'm like, nah, I'm waiting on that case of ammo to come in so I can go spend my weekend at the range. That's what I do. I find the general consensus on 223 or 5.56 is to not go below 10 inches. When you start going below 10 inches for your barrel length, all kinds of problems arise. Now, you can get around a lot of those problems, but some of them are what they are. One of those is accuracy. Now, I'm not trying to build a sniper rifle here. It's a range toy. It's a AR pistol. I'm going to take it out on the weekends and I'm going to put a couple hundred rounds through it and have a good time. But I also want to be able to hit whatever it is that I'm trying to hit. So just to be on the safe side, I went with a 10.5 inch barrel length. That should give me plenty of accuracy for what I want to use my gun for, but it's also going to give me just enough rail space that I can go ahead and put whatever accessories on that I might decide on in the future. In order to get the most out of my money, I went with Palmetto State Armory. Say what you want about PSA, but I put together a shit ton of weapons out of their parts and parts kits, not only for myself, but helping out friends as well. And I've never had a single issue with them. Nearly everything in their AR parts kits is made in-house in South Carolina. They have a lifetime warranty, and their customer service is great. Yeah, I can go through other companies that are a bit more high-end, but then I'm looking at potentially spending twice what I budgeted myself for this gun. I could go with suppliers that have cheaper kits, which I've done, and then regret it later. So for me, PSA is going to be the winning ticket for this build. So PSA's kit comes with everything that you need for this gun aside from a stripped lower. It's no big deal because you got to do the background check anyways. Just go to your local gun shop and pick one up. All the components for the lower receiver, the trigger, the hammer, the pins, the springs, all the odds and ends are individually sealed in baggies so that they don't get mixed up. It's really easy to tell what goes where. If you've never put one together before, there are still a ton of videos online on how to do it, so it's really not that hard. The upper receiver comes out of the box fully assembled. Everything's put together. Your bolt carrier group is already in there. Your charging handle is already in there. The only work that you actually have to do is put that lower together, put the two pieces together, and head to the range. The kit comes with the Magpul pistol grip, the SB-A3 tactical brace, and this is actually their upgraded trigger that they include in here, and I'm not sure exactly what they do with it. It seems like it's polished and then nickel coated. Honestly, it's a smooth trigger. It feels good. It's loads ahead of like the standard trigger that comes in the Anderson's part kit. I don't know why, but you know, they throw that in there, which is nice. Generally, the cost of this kit is about $450. Sometimes you'll see it $20-$30 cheaper, but for the most part, it's $450. Now that is everything you need. You've got your upper assembly, you've got your lower parts kit, pistol grip, stabilizing brace, trigger, hammer, pins, springs, blah 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 blah, everything you need for $450. So how can you go wrong? All right, so when the kit came in, I noticed that the forward assist button, the finish was wore off around the edge. There were a couple scratches through it. Honestly, the button itself looked like it was used. Really no big deal. I doubt any of you are ever going to get into a situation where you actually have to use the forward assist button, but it's there. I took a couple pictures of this thing, sent it into their customer service department, figured at the very least they would know that something passed quality control that shouldn't have. That way they can keep an eye on it. They immediately offered to go ahead and give me a shipping label so I could send the upper receiver back, and they'd go ahead and send me a brand new one. Like I said, the button itself is no big deal because this thing's gonna probably be Cerakoted here in the near future. Sometimes on their website you'll see guns listed as blemish units. That particular part would have been a blem unit, so it should have been discounted. So I just asked them if they wanted to give me a store credit instead of going through the hassle of sending my upper in, having them send out a new one. And they were like, yeah, sweet, here's $50 for your next purchase. A little wear through on the finish isn't going to hurt anything. But that leads me to sight system. I already knew I wanted to put a Sig Romeo5 on there. Generally they cost about $120, but PSA had given me a $50 credit. So, well, that helps with the overall cost of this build. I'll go ahead and leave a link below for the video that I did recently on the Sig Romeo if you want to go take a look at that. It's an awesome optic. Absolutely love it. It's cheap, it's functional, it's pretty damn durable. So at that price, why the hell not? So I could have stopped there. I could have grabbed a couple mags, still been well under budget, and been done with this whole thing. Considering PSA gave me a $50 credit that I used on the optic, figured I might as well keep going. I'm a big fan of Magpul's AFG. I've got one on just about everything that's in the safe, so why the hell not put one on the pistol build? The ATF in all of their infinite wisdom has decided if you have a pistol, you're not allowed to put a vertical grip on it, but an angled grip is okay. Okay, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to question it. I'm not even going to try to make sense of why they make the decisions that they make, but in the ATF's view, an angled grip is perfectly okay. So, had to have one of those on here. The AFG I went ahead and picked up at North Sound Firearms. That's my local one-stop shop for all. The best part is they have an indoor range in the same building, so if I've got a few extra minutes, I can pop on over there, let off some rounds, and go on about my business. The angled grip was on sale for $30. While I was in there, PMags were on sale $10 a piece, so I picked up 2 of those. So that's a $50 stop for the day, but all stuff I needed for the build, so it's all good. Of course, in order to mount the grip, I needed a chunk of rail. Now, Magpul does make several variations of this AFG. They make one for standard Picatinny rail, they make one for key mod, they make one for M-LOK. I don't know why, but the key mod and M-LOK versions aren't shaped the same. They don't actually fit as comfortably in my hand as the Picatinny rail one does. So Screw it. Hop on Amazon, order a $10 chunk of rail, and I've got what I like. At that point, it's just a matter of grabbing an ammo can and heading out to the gravel pit to test the whole thing out. Look, if you like shooting, you need an AR pistol in your life, because I'll tell you what, that thing is a lot of fun to shoot. I did a real quick zero on the optic from the standing position. It was just enough to get me by until next time I can actually make it into the range and get it actually dead on. But of course, you know, the Romeo functioned exactly how I expected it to. Like I said, I've got several other of that optic, and they've never failed me yet. The initial test was more or less to make sure that everything functioned properly. There weren't any defects or issues with the gun. Get a better feel for what I might want to upgrade later on. Everything went well. The 10.5-inch barrel with the flash can that PSA installs, it seems loud. That's one drawback to a shorter barrel. The shorter you go, the louder it's going to get. Now this thing is loud, but it's not really unmanageable loud. You get back to that 7-inch mark on a barrel, and it's just stupid loud. It doesn't make any sense to have an AR pistol that short. Like, yeah, it's concealable. You can hide it under the seat in your truck, whatever. Good luck if you ever have to use it in the confined space of your vehicle, through the window, whatever the case may be. Your friggin' eardrums are just going to blow out. The other thing about the shorter barrel is the shorter that it gets, the higher level of felt recoil there is, especially when you're using cheaper low-end brace like the Shockwave blade. I've used that thing before, and I really have to question anybody that says that it's a comfortable arm brace to use. It's a somewhat thin piece of plastic that just, every time you pull the trigger, it just digs in harder and harder into the shoulder, and I just don't see a reason for it. The SBA3 brace, I find that one comfortable as hell. Honestly, as far as how it feels when you shoot it, you don't really notice that much of a difference between the A3 brace and an actual stock. SB Tactical does have the new A4 out. I've used that one. Feels about the same as the A3. Price tag's a little bit bigger, not by much, but you know, it's a few bucks or whatever. Honestly, my thing about the A4 is that I think it's ugly as hell. I don't like it. I actually prefer the A3. Some people prefer the A4. Different strokes, different folks. So whatever it is that you like, just go with it. A quick note about pistol braces. The ATF says currently that occasional shouldering of a pistol brace is perfectly legal as long as the installation of that pistol brace wasn't specifically intended to circumvent NFA laws. Jesus Christ, that's a mouthful. You really can't make this shit up. Half the time I wonder if the guys writing these rules actually own any personal weapons other than the gun that was issued to them by the government. So yeah, have some fun. Add a brace, occasionally shoot it from the shoulder. Just be careful, because with those shorter barrels, another drawback is that the barrel is going to heat up really fast. That's kind of why I wanted to install the Magpul AFG. Just get my hand just a little further away from the barrel as it heats up. During the test trip to the gravel pit, I think I blew through about 300 rounds. No failures, no malfunctions, no weird gremlins of any sort. Like I said, I like PSA. For the price of that kit, you're not going to beat it. Their customer service is friggin' amazing, and if something goes wrong, they're going to make it right. So the budget was $700 for this build, and when we totaled it up, everything came out right at $700. Except the only thing is, PSA gave me that $50 credit. So the way I see it, I've still got 50 bucks in my pocket. That's where you come in. Go ahead and hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think as far as where that 50 bucks could best be spent on upgrades or additions to the AR pistol. Remember, there's 50 bucks still on the table. So I think it'd be interesting to see what everybody thinks the best way to spend that $50 would be. I'll give it a little while to go ahead and see what everybody thinks, narrow it down to a final decision on what to spend that money on, find something that's going to be good quality, add it to the gun, and come back and do another review. Next time we come back and revisit the budget build, we'll go ahead and do a little bit of accuracy testing. We'll see what this thing's really made of. Like I said, we'll spend that extra 50 bucks and see what we can come up with there. Maybe we can find something fun and interesting to add to it that isn't going to be a total waste of $50. So make sure you're hitting those buttons, like it, subscribe, share it, comment, and I'll see you soon with this thing.